The gate to the Garden of Eden, just found in Jerusalem. What if I told you that a gate discovered in Jerusalem has the potential to reveal the secrets of the Garden of Eden? This groundbreaking discovery has captured the attention of archaeologists and scholars around the world, and for good reason. But what secrets lay beyond the gate, and how might this affect our understanding of history and religion? Join us as we delve deeper into this incredible discovery and unravel secrets concealed for centuries. What God gave to Adam and Eve in the Garden of Eden was their first and greatest gift. It was lost after the original sin, but it now stands as a symbol of recovered innocence and endless hope. The Garden of Eden is dedicated to the story of Adam and Eve. God created the first man and woman, the progenitors of all humanity, in the Garden of Eden, also known as earthly paradise. The Almighty gave them that magnificent location, as well as all the animals and plants that inhabited it, as a gift so that they could enjoy their fruits and live in absolute satisfaction. This is one of the Garden of Eden's characteristics. It is a place of peace and harmony, where all races of animals live together, and where no flower is harmful. Suffering, as well as exhaustion, disease, and agony, has been eradicated. Death cannot penetrate the Garden of Eden, which blossoms with the tree of life, among other things. God has placed this amazing tree in the center of Eden's garden, next to the tree of the knowledge of good and evil, and Adam and Eve can eat its fruit to their heart's content. They are immortal in this way, invincible to the passage of time, old age, disease, and death. So what is the story of the Garden of Eden? Meanwhile, consider the terms. The Hebrew word paradis, whose origin means paradise, signifies garden. The phrase garden of earthly delights in Genesis chapter 2, verses 8 through 14, was used to describe both the earthly and celestial paradises. The term Eden derives from Sumerian and means steppe plain. Some academics believe that God created his paradise, his garden of delights, in a region dominated by steppe vegetation. Another idea connects the Garden of Eden to a site called Eden or Eden that appears several times in the Bible. It was an Assyrian-ruled territory in the Middle Euphrates that was also mentioned in several Sumerian sources. We don't have to visualize an uncultivated and wild environment when we conceive of the earthly paradise. In truth, gardens were walled areas where vegetation was controlled sensibly in ancient times. As a result, God's precise plan would include the creation of a garden and the birth of the first man within it. Where was the Garden of Eden? The location of Eden's garden is described in Genesis, and the eternal God planted a garden in Eden, in the east, and there he put the man he had made. A river flowed from Eden to water the garden, and it was divided into 4 arms. The first is called Pishon, and it surrounds the entire area of Havilah, where there is gold. The gold in that country is good. Bdellium and onyx are also found there. The name of the second river is Gihon, and it is the same river that runs across Ethiopia. Hiddekel is the name of the third river, which flows east of Assyria. The Euphrates is the fourth river. This seemingly exact description contains references that are certainly symbolic rather than geographical. At first look, most academics believe that the Garden of Eden was located in a river valley and somewhere to the east, possibly in Mesopotamia. In fact, the area where the Tigris and Euphrates rivers meet, which is now Iraq, Syria, Turkey, and Iran, had very lush vegetation because of the flooding of the 2 rivers. It was so lush it got the name Fertile Crescent, which is sometimes used to describe steppes and brings us back to the word Eden. Other scholars situate the earthly paradise further north, assuming that if 4 streams of water streamed out of it, their source had to be further north than the Tigris and Euphrates. We might think of the northern section of Armenia as an example. After years of study, excavation, and investigation, Professor David Roll, a notable English archaeologist, concluded that the Garden of Eden was located in a valley near today's Tabriz in northern Iran on the plateau west of the Lake of Urmia. The same expert, the author of the explanatory title, Genesis Was Right, contends that what is told in Genesis is historically and geographically reliable. For Roll, the Garden of Eden was in ancient Armenia, along the basins of Lake Van and Lake Urmia, in the same region where Mount Ararat rises, where Noah's Ark came to a halt at the end of the Great Flood. Again, others believe that the Garden of Eden was in the Holy Land, Israel. Adam's connection with humanity as a whole, as opposed to his loyalty to a specific nation, is crucial. There is no information given about the country where the dust came from. Rabbis believe that it originated from around the world. Even though this is a very important place, people have been asking for thousands of years where on earth the Garden of Eden is. The Bible makes it abundantly clear that the Garden of Eden is not a fictional location. Rather, its precise location has been identified. The biblical text mentions 4 rivers, all of which can be located in the vicinity of this location. These 4 rivers have the names Euphrates, Tigris or Hiddekel, Pison, and Gihon. This theory has existed for centuries, but no one's been able to identify the precise location of Pison and Gihon. No one's been able to make a reasonable presumption regarding the location of the Garden of Eden as a result. It is widely agreed that considerable geographical shifts have occurred since the time of the Bible. According to the Bible, Adam did not create any structures, which was one of the problems that had been identified. This is one of the issues that were emphasized. The author of Genesis explains that the location of the Garden of Eden is unique and that it distinguished itself from other gardens due to its singular characteristics. In spite of this, a new theory had been devised in response to a discovery made in the Church of the Holy Sepulchre. Jody Magnus, an archaeologist, is the one who proposed this theory. A discovery she made in a Jerusalem church has led her to believe she is the answer to the enigma. It is believed that Jesus of Nazareth was crucified and resurrected at Calvary, or Golgotha, now known as the Church of the Holy Sepulchre in the Old City. Magnus believes that Adam was set to rest in the exact same location. Jesus is believed to have been crucified on the rock of Golgotha, which is the large outcrop of granite located in the Golgotha neighborhood of Jerusalem. In 2017, she stated, "The clue originates from beneath the rock of Golgotha, the rocky outcropping on which Christians believe Jesus was crucified. Underneath is the Adam Chapel, which, according to a long-held Christian tradition, is associated with Adam, the first man. This narrative dates back to the earliest days of Christianity. According to legend, when Jesus was crucified on the rock above us, his blood dripped through a crack in the rock. Adam, the first man, was buried in the earth, but when Jesus' blood dripped onto him, he was resurrected. And Adam, the first man, lay buried underneath. Contrary to the description contained in the Bible, this concept is incompatible with it. Pishon, Gihon, Hiddekel, and Phirat are river names mentioned in the book of Genesis in relation to the garden. This strongly suggests that the garden was located in what is now Iraq, which was then known as southern Mesopotamia. Nonetheless, Dr. Magnus explained how this actually supports a theory that she holds. She continued, "While the account wound up in the book of Genesis and seems to place the Garden of Eden in Mesopotamia, she believes Adam had a very special relationship with the city of Jerusalem despite this." According to Jody Magnus, the Chapel of Adam is located below, and there is a long-standing Christian tradition connecting this location to Adam, the first man. The chapel is named after him, and during Jesus' crucifixion, which occurred on the boulder directly above, his blood dripped down through a crack in the rock, and Adam, the first man, was buried there. However, when Jesus' blood fell on him, he was resurrected. Adam is widely believed to have spent the majority of his life in the region that later became known as the Garden of Eden, so the possibility cannot be ruled out. The Garden of Eden was located somewhere in what is now known as Mesopotamia, according to the account in the book of Genesis. And this is what historians are led to believe by the account. Jerusalem was considered Eden during the early periods of Judaism and during the time of Jesus because it was believed that the presence of God resided in the temple. People frequently envision the Garden of Eden, also known as paradise, as a place where God's presence is always there. Jerusalem was considered the Garden of Eden during the early periods of Judaism and during the time of Jesus because it was believed that the presence of God resided in the temple. The query posed to Dr. Magnus was whether she believed that the Garden of Eden is a metaphor for the beginning of life and the actual location of God's presence. The response she provided was, well, certainly, of course. Adam was the first human, and the Hebrew word Adam signifies man. Adam was the name of the original individual. In addition, if you remove the letter A, you are left with the Hebrew word dam, which means blood. Adding an A to the end of the word yields the word Adama, which signifies land. Dr. Magnus is persuaded that Jerusalem is the location of the Garden of Eden due to Jerusalem's significance as a Christian holy site and the abundance of biblical events that occurred there. Regardless of whether the Garden of Eden, as recorded in the Holy Scriptures, has a geographical location, its significance remains a priority for every believer. Everything that happened in it, the woman's temptation, the man's fall, and their banishment, marks the birth of humanity as we know it, and a theological key that justifies and explains the creation of all evil. When Eve and Adam chose to defy God by eating the fruits of the tree of knowledge of good and evil, they forfeited their privilege to eat from the tree of life. This is the serpent's deception, as he had told them that they would be equal to God instead. We will have to wait for Christ's return to find the new tree of life, the source of salvation and eternal life in his cross. Thank you for joining us on this fascinating journey through the gate to Eden. If you enjoyed this video, please like, comment, and subscribe to our channel to stay up to date on the latest findings and updates.